That was not supposed to happen. Well, good morning, Glue Troopers. Max and Max's Models here, and I was able to get to work on the Tamiya 132nd scale P51 Mustang yesterday. And boy, was I in for a surprise. Now we're getting into the really teeny tiny parts. And I mean, just the battery that goes behind the engine in the engine compartment has 3 components and 4 colors. That was fun. So I pre-painted everything. Also pre-painted the exhaust stacks. That's interesting. You mix 5 parts flat metal with a 1 part red, and they're trying to get that burnished look, but it worked. And although the texture was a little odd. And then, of course, aluminum, just straight up flat aluminum, which was AS12, where the exhausts come out, the ports where the exhausts come out, the mount for it. Now, of course, I gave it plenty of time to harden. I think it was actually, I had used a little glue to mount the things in the first one, and I picked my finger up, and sure enough, I blemished it. Oh, wonderful. And so that wasn't supposed to happen. Anywho, so the result of that was, sand it down back in the spray booth and be more careful next time. But eventually got all the 12 exhaust stacks inserted, and that was fine, no big deal. Got the battery case assembly put together, but unfortunately it didn't exactly fit right because right now the front end of the airplane is bowed out, and these exhaust stack assemblies are part of the structure. So you mount them to the back and the front, but then you have this front piece that has to go on, but it has 3 pieces. You have a reservoir tank up on the front that goes behind the faceplate of the engine area, and it's tricky. I'm going to go look this up. I actually remember seeing this when I was looking at a Mustang with the cowling off in New Jersey. You also have the hoses for the coolant tank. Those were mounted to the airframe much earlier in the build, but they didn't quite line up right. And this is one of those models where you're building a lot of pieces modular and putting it all together and hope everything lines up. And even though it's a great Tamiya kit, they did not all line up exactly. And I had pre-painted all the parts, but that only meant for, the glue trying to take longer to harden because I had to burn through some of the paint because I didn't have raw plastic exposed, and made a little bit of mess, scratched paint off, which means, of course, I have to go back and touch it up. And the whole idea of pre-painting it was it's hard to get to, and I wouldn't have to do this, and the usual headache. But the engine is very detailed with all the hoses and pipes, but getting everything to line up, no matter how careful you are when you mount it, once you put everything together, things don't always line up exactly. Now, this is where I had to go off the instruction sheet to make things work. It says you're supposed to mount the reservoir to the faceplate, and once that hardens, you then mount that into place, and it just wasn't lining up. So what I did was removed the reservoir, went ahead and mounted it to the 2 hoses. One's an innie and one's an outie, and wow, this is going to get a little complicated here, but once that hardened enough that I can manipulate it, then I went ahead and put the faceplate on, and it didn't really want to seat all the way. I finally got it to under pressure, and then once those had gotten somewhat hardened and I could work, then I put the side plates in, and they all lock into one another, but between having pre-painted the stuff, which again caused a little bit of gumminess I had to deal with, I wound up taking the exhaust stacks off to remount the reservoir and the faceplate, and then put them back on once they had them kind of gripped in place. It was really tricky. It was quite frankly a pain. And I'll tell you right now, if you're not going to display the engine in this thing, I wouldn't waste time with it because it's a lot of work. Now, mind you, you've got about a 100% Fidelity Mustang engine in there, but so if you're going to do cowling off, yeah, absolutely. But if you're going to do cowling on, it was a grind. So I've got everything. I actually had to go back in and add some more glue after everything was in place to make sure there's enough to hold, and I've got it gripped in place. I'm just going to set it overnight. I walked away. The only other piece is the lip to the intake and under the chin, under the spinner. That's red, and so I went ahead and just painted that separately. Make life a lot easier. Well, famous last words, right? But everything's in there and it's together. I don't mind telling you, this model's been a little bit of a challenge, but that's because I'm trying to put everything in there. So, and I'm just doing that for me. I hope to have this done in time for the Korean War build. But we have a lot of things going on down here that I'll be probably talking about later. So completely unrelated to kit models and stuff, just real world stuff. And also I've got to go out this weekend, fly my last trip. And Vegas, here I come, baby. And one final thing, our good friend Lewis Lee from JD Hobbies. Well, Lou, a few years ago, local production firm publication, came out and did a little thing on his store. You guys have a homework assignment. Go watch this 1.5-minute long video of Lou in his shop. It's a few years old, but it's great. You're really going to appreciate what he says. Well, guys, that's what I have for right now. You take care of yourselves. We'll see you later. Live stream still scheduled for 7 p.m. Friday night. And as always, model on.